What's up, guys? Welcome back into the Drive Time Podcast. My guest today is none other than the great Kay Adams, Up and Adams, 11 o'clock every single day on FanDuel TV. Kay, thank you so much for stopping by and talking with us.
Thank you for giving my show a plug right off the top. A guest loves that.
You got to do that. I mean, that's what we have you here for, right? So, speaking of the plug, you were here for some pretty big interviews today. What'd you make of the experience down here in South Florida today?
Usually I know what I'm walking into, and this one threw me for a bunch of surprises. I will say that. Getting to meet Mike McDaniel before practice, so there was a little bit of a woosah to him. He was really introspective and thoughtful. I think my takeaway was I get it. I get why he is who he is. I think he is one of one. I think all coaches are genuine, but there's this pioneer breaking the door down of authenticity in a different way. I think he is who he is 24/7, and I love that, letting the players vibe. Everyone, these are things that everybody knows. But I do think my takeaway from him was how deliberate he is, and I think he probably doesn't get credit for that. And the way I could explain it is just how thoughtful he is in his meeting with Tua, how he handled that. Very strategic. A lot of coaches do a lot of different things to get the best out of their players. Coach does that too. He just has his own way.
Deliberate intention is a phrase that he uses quite often
There we have
around
it.
us right here.
Oh, okay.
And it's funny you mention that because I know, say, on the practice field, like he makes his rounds to different position groups and talks to different guys, and every single one of them is always smiling after he gets done talking to him. Like he has that energy and that aura.
He left me, and I was like, I just love him. I want to play for him. How can I? And then you think, oh, he told me exactly what I needed to hear today, and he sussed that out of me. And so to have somebody be, as he would put it, he said socially aware in our interview, but to just be hyper vigilant is what I think. I think he can read people really well, and that's going to obviously has gone a long way. And I think it's cool that he's showing that there's this style that is effective. He's, it's a fine line between, am I a player friendly coach? Am I soft? Am I too friendly? Am I too funny? Am I going to be taken seriously? And he's showing and will show a next generation of coaches that are needed to sort of disrupt and flip the table on its head, that this way can be successful, as he has 2 back-to-back playoff appearances and hopefully a Super Bowl win this year.
Hopefully, we're all hoping for that. And
It feels like everybody thinks Travis is just, everyone here is just like in the Super Bowl, in my opinion, already. Like everyone has the best energy, and it's so hot. I give them a lot of credit.
Well, that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you here was about the energy in South Florida, because you've been on this tour now for a little bit. How many cities have you been to now?
Carry the one. I don't
Yeah.
know. Let me get out my TI-89 calculator. My abacus, Matthew Hamilton, says 14.
So how's it been going? You wearing down here towards the end? You getting that late tour surge?
We had a bye week. We had a bye day, and I hated it. I was like antsy. I didn't want to sleep. I think adrenaline's a big thing, especially you guys are doing it too. Every day of training camp. I don't know. I don't like the day off. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I get out of our rhythm, and I think we are a little bit out of our rhythm after that day off. So we're just gonna do our best, and it's on to wherever we are next, which I have no idea. No, but I would say if you're asking about the energy of this camp, Tua blew me away. I don't know how else to say it. I expect the Tyreek Hill that I got today, which is just why even think of questions for him. It's just gonna go how it goes. But I love that about him. But with Tua. Man, he is really not holding punches. He's having a good time. He sat down and he started the interview. He said, "Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Tua, interviewing Tua." And I literally said, "Who am I sitting next to right here?" But I think being settled, getting paid, all of that, getting taken care of is a huge part of that. And clearly just the freedom that Mike McDaniel allows as well. But he's super vocal, super holding guys to be accountable. So that's the energy. I think it's sort of being set by Mike, of course, but being carried out by Tua.
Had you had a chance to meet him before
Yeah.
today? So you knew him from previous
I've
interactions?
interviewed Tua a bunch, and it's hard because I don't want to say he didn't have it in him. I just think he wasn't comfortable doing it on camera. I think when you have worries about how things might be perceived or how it's going to affect you or your team, but that the contract stuff is done, that they've surrounded him and supported him, that I found like on this tour, I'm hearing a lot of players say, "I belong." And it feels good to belong, but it means something when it's backed up, right? So I think because that's taken off of the table, he can sort of thrive and use his voice more, which I think everybody will like.
Yeah, in addition to all the great personalities we have here in the building itself is kind of a bit of a a showstopper, right? I mean, you've been to 14 cities now, like
Mhm.
you mentioned. How about the impressions of our beautiful facilities here?
It's unbelievable. I don't think I've been here since Live, and even then I wasn't like at the facilities. I mean, it's cold in here, which I love. It is insane what you guys deal with on an everyday basis. I was asking Calais Campbell, "You're 17, like why are you out here doing this in this heat?" And he said, obviously it's the culture, the chance to win. He wants a Super Bowl ring, but it's also all of the great things and how the Dolphins take care of their players. So even from top to bottom, having state of the art facilities like this, and I hear there's an even colder room than this, y'all. So that's where I'll be for the rest of the day.
Yeah, the room in the back is about 50
Yeah.
degrees most days. But you were trying to battle some of the heat earlier. I saw you down there. Did you manage okay today?
No. No, I want an ice bath. I can't, I brought don't, I can't eat anything. I'm so hot. I don't understand. And then you look at these players and you're like Jalen Phillips, who's back and looking freaking awesome.
Yeah,
Everybody.
let's go.
Yeah, let's go. And then you see just these dudes running out there and you're like, zip it. Don't complain. I mean, Calais Campbell left my chair soaked. We had a wood chair. It's gonna rot now. It was insane. And then Braxton came and he goes, "Thanks, Clay. I'll just sit down in this puddle. Cool." But that just shows like the love of the game. That's what it is. And it's no secret that every NFL player wants to play for the Dolphins. It's just what it is.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice place to be, a pretty fun team to be a part of,
Mhm.
like you mentioned there. And we like pray for cloud coverage for just like 5 degrees cooler.
Yeah.
And it feels like a godsend when we get it, but it's so few and far between. But today you got none of that help. You got no wind,
I,
you got no cloud coverage, you got nothing
I
today.
didn't, but I was also a big baby. Instead of braving the elements, let's be honest, I was like inside and I was looking at Twitter to see what was going on at practice. So there was that.
Hey, this is a full tell story
Yeah,
on the podcast.
I don't
So
lie.
pull the curtain back a little bit. So I wanted to ask you about your career a little bit because we talk about, players that sit in this seat. You're talking about players. I want to talk about you because, we're all huge fans of your career path of Good Morning Football, Up and Adams.
Thanks.
And I'm so curious to hear about that transition going from a 4-person show that was, I mean, rock stars. All of you guys, you've all, achieved such great things. Nate on the Good Morning Show
He
now
is
with,
just a star.
you can
Is
see it from
he
day one.
hosting Hollywood Squares? No one's surprised by that. He's the absolute best.
Going from that to your own venture and so successful in that, I'm just curious how that transition went. Were you worried about it at first? What was the process of going from such an established, 4-person show with great co-hosts like that to a new show that's taking off so quickly?
I think I would ask you the question, how did that show get established?
From the hard work of individuals like yourself.
Or just the group or the team you put together. So there was never a fear of building a show because I helped build a show. And that's what Good Morning Football gave me, that opportunity. And in that, I guess the fear would be that you're handed a beautiful slot that's on in every NFL locker room, which I'm never not going to be grateful for. Like unbelievable access and unbelievable support, and a sort of a platform. So building your own platform is a bit of a. But I would have to say, I wish I had a better answer for you, Travis, because I think people who are interested in doing it will have these questions. I don't think about the future very much. I don't. I never wanted to have my own show. That's the truth. They wanted to name it the Kay Adams Show. I was very against that. I just don't. I wanted the show to be about other people, and I think I knew that I wanted the show to have that same sort of curiosity that's always driven me, and have also good information. And I think I've achieved that. But that's like a day-to-day war of letting those two lead me. But I mean, I don't think about it. I think it's. I mean, I'm grateful, and I will say there's tough things about it, but it's all about who you're around, and it's all about who believes in you. And I gotta say, and the reason it was easy to transition was because FanDuel just were open. They said, "We know that you you can do it, whatever you want. We'd like to support that." And to have that sort of freedom, to have your CMO, your CEO behind you is rare. It does not happen. And I mean, there's no success on any level without them at FanDuel, which I really appreciate. But I would also say, I don't know that I've achieved success. It's so funny that you say that. When you say that, something in me goes like, "Meh." So I think that's probably a big driver of me as well. I never, it's a bad thing. I never quite stop and say like, this is awesome. Very rarely. Hamilton, how often do I do that? A little bit more now? Yeah, but I want it all. So there's that.
Well, to go back to Coach McDaniel, you're either getting better, you're getting worse. You're never complacent in the same place. So
My
that's kind of
phrase is
your
you're
track.
either, what Hamilton say it. You're either growing or you're dying,
Yeah.
which is the more morbid version of the well-adjusted Coach
It's like the
McDaniel.
startup version of that. I've heard that like in the
Yeah.
Silicon Valley circles that I often traverse in, the Silicon Valley, but no, that's a joke. I don't do that.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm lost myself. The whole purpose of your show is to get these great personalities to show themselves. And you talked about Coach McDaniel earlier. You had some other guys on the show today as well, right? I'm curious to hear about. You mentioned Calais Campbell,
Yeah.
Braxton Berrios. You talked about Tua. Just what did you get from those guys today?
I got, to me, it's just asking Calais Campbell. I think that the most insane thing that you can achieve in this league outside of Super Bowls and numbers is just consistency and his games played, his production, actual true production. Like he was still tops last year, 6.5 sacks, a bunch of TFLs. Like he's still giving it at 38. Like what drives him was a big question I wanted to ask. His future, his Hall of Fame thoughts. That was really cool. You guys can check that out on the show. Tyreek Hill, you sit down with him and it's a roller coaster. It is, we're a couple hours, I'm sure, from Orlando. Like it is, he could be a ride in the Magic Kingdom. I don't know, that's it. And then it's always, is he like the villain ride in that part of the park or is he the hero? And there's this beautiful sort of line that's drawn that he doesn't give an F what he says. And I told him after the interview, I said, what must it be like to be so undeniably talented that you can say whatever you want? And he made a joke about how he can't try that at home. He can't say whatever he wants, but it is true. He's beyond reproach. He's an undeniable force. So I was super fascinated, I think, coming in here about how do you manage this many personalities? How do you do it? I would be drained by it every day. I don't know that Coach McDaniel's an extrovert or an introvert, but I just talking to these guys, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to like take a nap. The energy is at a 10 out of 10 all the time. But that it works. How does it work? Teams that have so many stars don't. It could blow up. It's not going to blow up here. And it's not just because of McDaniel. It's because of this Tua that's more vocal too.
We'd love to hear that. Quarterback and head coach got those positions figured out. That's a pretty good place
and
to start
Greer,
for an
of course, who
organization.
doesn't get a lot of love for putting this all together and, making the right moves, which is great.
Number 2 on the top 100 list in terms of players on that list. We had 8, Niners had 9 players, so the Dolphins were second in that category. So a great roster for sure. Up and Adams, hosted by the Emmy award-winning Kay Adams.
Thanks.
So you talk about accomplishment. I mean, Emmy award-winning. That's pretty accomplished.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't go and I don't have the Emmy, but that's super cool for the team at Good Morning Football.
Get the best athletes and experts from the league, serving up credible information and entertainment movements to all sports fans. Tune into Up and Adams weekdays at 11 o'clock Eastern AM on FanDuel TV, FanDuel TV Plus. Kay, thank you so much for your time.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
What is the thing that you need me to be talking about this year on this team? Like, is it obviously defense? No.
I mean, the coach
What's
and the
the
quarterback
thing?
are
Okay,
that's a
it.
great place to start. And I mean, like I said, that's where most organizations,
Is
build
there a
their
name though that needs to be spoken in the national media more?
a name that needs to be Alec Ingold.
Okay,
our
tell me.
fullback. He sounds like a player you would talk
This-
about like
now
on
you're speaking my
yeah,
language.
like
I
on
love
he
that.
reminds me of like a GMFB guy that you guys would praise up
Of
in
course.
in
Call
those,
them an offensive weapon.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, he catches passes. He digs out linebackers in the blocking game. He can line up on the edge and play some tight end too. He does everything. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's a team captain. He's an incredible human being. He's a guy you need to seek out.
Wait,
for
I
that.
love this. Move over Kyle Juszczyk. Move over CJ Ham. We've got our new guy in town. Thank you for that.
No problem. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.